Hey, what's up, everybody? Hey, looks a little different, right? Well, shout out to my man Tony. He couldn't be here, but we got JD the Oracle. Welcome to episode 4 of Half Court Heat. Brought to you by Heat Ratio Sports, and where we talk about the Sixers, we talk about the NBA with a Sixers state of mind, right? So we love our Sixers, but we're gonna jump right into it. We understand the Super Bowl Sunday, but we gotta get the NBA talking here. A lot of stuff going on. We got
Must.
trades in the NBA. So right off the bat, I wanna just jump right into the Sixers. We want to talk about what are they doing different. Like I was looking at the stats of where they were first, where they a first half team, a second half team. Where did they sit in third quarter efficiency, fourth quarter efficiency? So JD the Oracle, my man Al Griffin is in the building as usual. Say what's up, Al. So my
Yes,
man,
sir.
but,
What's
but
going on?
we're gonna start off with JD. Okay, we're gonna start off with JD the Oracle. My man Jamar, I gotta ask you, what is the difference with the Sixers last year and the Sixers this year at halftime? Because Doc Rivers doing an incredible job getting them prepared to come out when they come out in the second half. But I gotta ask you, what is the difference? What's the difference?
Well, first of all, thank y'all for having me on. I'm on the Network as well, Heat Ratio Network as well, but I do college. But to me, being honest, I suffered through a lot of years with Brett Brown, so I watched him like not make halftime adjustments.
Shots fired. Shots
You know what I'm
fired.
saying? I mean, I get the process. I get it. I truly do. But I feel like with Doc, man, he gives you a level of continuity where he can go in and make second half adjustments. And everybody that played ball, been around ball a long time and know ball, know that the game is nothing but runs. And if you don't make adjustments and you can't weather the storm of a run, I don't care who you got on your team, Jimmy Butler, whoever, you're not going to be able to weather the storm if you don't make adjustments at halftime. And that's the biggest difference with this new look Sixers. The added pieces are good. Morey's made changes, of course, with personnel, but personnel doesn't do anything if you don't have coaching. We watched Doc do it with the Clippers. We watched Doc do it with the Celtics. So the difference is Doc. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think the biggest difference is with Doc, especially when we're talking about obviously the 2020 season and this season, the season that's we're currently in now. Because last year the Sixers were like in the basement in third quarter scoring. But what people aren't really seeing, they're number one in fourth quarter scoring. So to me, that tells me that they're closing out games. They're starting because you went from the middle of the pack to the basement. Now you're number one in the entire NBA in fourth quarter scoring, closing out games. So Al, I gotta ask you, what do you think is the difference between that change? We talked about Doc Rivers, but do you think it's the personnel and the way that they're gelling at the end of the games?
I'll probably say a combination of both. Doc obviously has been a huge upgrade. Anybody that can't see that, I mean, obviously it's not paying attention to this team. Doc with the simple things of knowing the right time to get, all right, Joe, let's go down to the post. Or the perfect time to run a certain player out of a timeout and it runs to perfection. Or a certain time to change the defense. or a certain time to put a certain player in when you may say, well, I don't know if you should put him in at that time, and then boom, it works. And then on top of that, now we got Seth and we got Danny, and I hear a lot of people complaining, well, we should get rid of Danny, and Danny is going to be fine. I'm not worried about Danny. Danny is going to be fine. We don't need Danny to be a Superman right now. We need Danny to be healthy and energized for the playoffs. And hitting those corner threes when he got a little annoyed. What was that? Last night. He got a little annoyed and bang, bang, 2 threes in that corner. That's what we need from him on wide open shots. And then Seth, finally, he was struggling the last couple of games. He finally got into a little rhythm and got going and had a nice little flow. So those things, plus my man Shake coming up the bench doing this thing. I said that from the very beginning that Shake was going to be a key component, that he's coming off the bench. So those things combined, and then Matisse, again, he's putting Matisse in at certain times, putting him on certain people. Everybody said, well, he isn't going to be able to play. He found the way to integrate Matisse into this perfectly to do what we need to do, put him on certain people at certain times, still have confidence in him to shoot. You know, it's everything. It's not just one thing with this team. That's why you can't say it's Doc or it's JoJo or it's Ben. It's a lot of different components on why we're number one right now in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, looking really good. 17 and 7 is looking really good sitting up there, right? 17 and 7, number one in Eastern Conference.
Yes.
Which is a great segue because you mentioned Seth, and that's just a great segue to what I want to talk about with Seth, because in episode 1, we talked about who should be starting. Remember, we talked about should it be Shake or should it be Seth, right? Now, Seth went on, it just started out really good, and Seth went on a tear. Like, we were like, this guy can't miss from 3. And then he went on a low, but ironically, he went on that low right when Maxey started getting a little weird too, as far as not really showing up, or he didn't show that flash that we saw when we first. Now, we haven't lost faith. The kid is a tough kid. The boy can ball. This kid can ball. Seth, I'm trying to figure out what's going on with him. So, JD, I want to come to you with this question. Is Seth Curry, do you think his slide is over? Or do you think it was just something that he had to adjust, and now he's back on track, and we should just be okay with him moving forward?
I think we should all relax first off. I think we should all let's not hit the panic button. Let's not sell. Let's wait, because he coming back from COVID, and everybody knows that COVID has affected, the COVID has affected people in different ways. Like we've seen players in college get COVID and pass out on the floor and be, down and out. So do we need to chill? And maybe Doc, that's something Doc can work on, maybe working him back into more minutes, getting kind of his flow back. Because at the end of the day, like, you don't know how that long-term effect is going to be for him. He looks fine. He looks like he's okay, but he could be dealing with respiratory issues, maybe getting his wind, keeping his wind. We just gotta chill. Curry is a shooter. And when you have a real true shooter, shooters shoot. And it don't matter how many they miss. A shooter can miss 20 and hit the one you really, really need.
Exactly.
So am I saying you're not going to sell on Curry? You just got him. You just acquired him. So give him time. He's learning like the rest of those guys. And kind of to your point, what Maxey is a young boy. So with him being young and rambunctious, he's going to have to work he haven't played this many games back to back, because in college, you don't play games like that. They're also going into their own transition of his own, where he's trying to learn how to manage the NBA lifestyle. And that could be road trips. That could be, practices being a little harder, because in college, you got some dudes that ain't really that good. But in the pros, when you're the new guy, everybody's good. Practice is almost like a game as for a rookie. So, all that talent they got on that team, like, just imagine he got to check Curry at practice or check Shake at practice. So that means that he's going against these guys who are dogs. And let's just say he switch off on Ben or Thibault, which is a total mismatch for him.
Yeah.
So let's be real. The dude is playing a more strenuous schedule. I don't think we should worry about neither one of them. And with Thibault on the team, he a dog. That's it. He a dog. He can play both sides. He a 3-and-D type of dude. So let's just relax. Let's not sell the stock yet. Let's let it mature a little bit.
So I totally agree with you, and I just want to transition this question and tweak it just a little bit for Al. So Al, we know, and just based on what we've been watching with the Sixers, the difference between Steph and Green. Now here's what I see, and I just want to get your opinion on it.
Mm-hmm.
When Green is almost, it seems like it's weird that he still have to prove to the opposing team that he's a perimeter threat.
Well, it's not even the team; it's the fans. The fans is Green is the score this, and Green is them. Dude, calm down.
But he showed something yesterday that I loved. He shut that bench up. He was talking to the bench yesterday, and then he hit those two. He hit 2 consecutive 3-pointers from the same spot from that corner pocket, which I love.
That kind of ended the game.
Right, and Seth. Well, I agree with you because after he hit the second one, it seemed like that was almost like the nail in the coffin. Right now, Seth is just based on his name, his pedigree. The guy is incredible, right? So my question to you is Seth more of the perimeter threat than Green is, or is Green just that much of a veteran that you have to respect his shot?
Seth has actually shown me he's done it a little bit since he's came back from COVID. And by the way, I can't remember the guy from the Browns. The star defensive lineman from the Browns came back from COVID probably in the middle of the season. He said the whole rest of the season, all the way through the playoffs, he was never the same. So I'm a little worried about that with Seth. But back to your subject, I think he's shown me that off the dribble more than I ever thought he even had in his bag. I'm thinking he's just coming off of the screens and jaying you up. He's coming off the screens with the left. He's coming off the screens with the little floater. He's doing everything in his bag right now that I didn't know he had. I'm just thinking, oh, we got Seth for the 3-point shot. Seth has shown me everything. So once he gets back to his total normal self, it's just going to take us to a new height. And by the way, we're still undefeated in our starting lineup. Green is what Green is going to be. He's going to make those open shots when you need him to, and he's going to defend. I was talking to somebody, I think it was yesterday on Twitter, and he was like, well, he's getting beat off the dribble. Well, Harden's going to beat a lot of people off the dribble. And Kyrie's going to beat a lot of people off the dribble. It is what it is, but he's going to shock you on the certain times where he's going to get the steal or lock somebody down or make somebody shoot a bad shot. So let Green do his thing. We don't need to do anything right now. And definitely no major changes. Small stuff, Ellington, something like that, off the bench, but nothing major. Seth is going to do his thing, and just please leave Green alone. Let him do his thing. We'll be fine.
That makes sense. I really like that. Both takes. So let's actually transition and get to some of these comments. JD, you got some of them?
Yeah, so we got this one right here. Seth is going to have a few slumps now and then. That's just part of who he is. We got to accept and understand that. Doc will have to manage that. Definitely no need to sell. He'll be an integral part of our system.
Absolutely. Justin, I agree with that 100%.
That's bringing the heat, Justin, because that's how we feel. Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We got another one telling you Myles Garrett.
Yep, that's who it was. He made that comment, and I was like, wow, you struggled the whole rest of the season? That's not good. That's not good at all.
It's not. And he carrying around about 300 and something pounds too.
Yeah.
So you know that's a big boy. He ain't playing no games. Yeah. So maybe we need to sit Seth a little, let him have some rest. And did Ilyasova sign anywhere yet? No,
he hasn't. But I don't know if he. You know what? I might take a shot on him. You know he's going to get a couple charges for you. He's going to hit a couple open threes. He's going to hustle. Why not? You sign him for the veteran minimum, and if we ever need somebody to come in and play forward, maybe Tobias is in foul trouble. Why not? I mean, it's no wrong, unless they have other plans to get a forward in. But that's not a bad idea at all.
Well, the Sixers are known for bringing back players that obviously, I mean, they earlier in the season they brought back Justin Anderson. Then obviously we had to let him go. But I was always a Justin Anderson fan.
Yeah, I know.
like the toughness. But more importantly, I know it's going to sound a little crazy, but every team needs this. The one thing I loved about people like Ilyasova or Justin Anderson is that we need practice players. Like we need the practice players to prepare the starters, to get them ready. Everybody plays a role.
Scrapper too. Scrapper. You gotta have a scrapper on your team. Championship team.
Oh, for sure.
And even a little farther than that. Like I told somebody this, when when we have these close games, everybody hates the close game. Everybody does. All fans hate close games because we're on the edge of our seat. But every championship team in the history of ever has had close games that they've had to win during the season to prepare them for the playoffs, because those are playoff type games on all levels, regardless if you start in high school up to college all the way to pro. Close games build character, and character is what you need to win chips. You can't win it with just beating everybody by 40. That don't happen.
Right.
So Mike just said why was Kyrie out last night, right?
I made a comment on that on Twitter. Come on, man, stop it.
So I'm not going to assume it had anything to do with COVID.
I am.
So I'm not going to assume that. But this is a great transition to the question and Al, I'm actually going to come to you first with this one. Do you think the NBA should be even having an All-Star game with everything that's going on with the pandemic? I don't know any other way to sugarcoat this question or to bring it in softly. I'm crash landing with this question with, should we have an All-Star game, and does it even make sense?
Absolutely not. You got 32 other guys coming in from all over the world that, they might not have it that day, but as you've seen, it can happen the next day. And with COVID anyway, you can test negative one day, and the next day you can test positive. It's zero accomplishing out of this except for cash. You seen LeBron said, first of all, when they negotiated that deal and not started on Martin Luther King Day instead of starting in December, he said that was part of the deal, that we was going to have 10 days off and we was going to relax. So they obviously reneged on that. But this makes zero sense. Name an all-star team, name the replacements that would be the reserves, and everybody go home and relax. And you're putting in high Atlanta, never close down. That's the worst place to put it. You could have put it anywhere else except for Atlanta that never shut down. You just gonna go, and they're gonna go to their hotel rooms and relax and not do anything in a city that's fully open. Movie theaters, everything is open there. No, that's not what happened. It's going to be, and they just opening themselves up for speed. You already got too many things that's stopping and not playing at all, and you're going to. This makes zero sense to me. I'm open. We come out on stage, so I think we have the number one record in the East. We're going to hit Tobias, Ben, and JoJo. I can't see how we don't, because all the best teams have always had three players from their roster. All the best teams. So we should have three. We'll see. But I just want our players to come back healthy. There in this facility, it should be no All-Star game.
Wow.
Zero.
Wow, JD the Oracle. It's in your name. You should have saw this coming, right?
I did see it coming, and I kind of knew. Like, look at every other sport. Like, look at every other sport that tried to have a season. There was complications with COVID, coaches being out, major, especially in the college game. Nick Saban was out for Alabama. Like that affected the game. I'm a Clemson fan, and our offensive coordinator was out, and we got demolished because of it. So I am a full believer that this thing is not a joke. This COVID stuff is not a joke. Anytime that these guys can take off and really try to, quarantine in place or just spend time with people that not going to be high risk to getting it, is probably the best scenario. You don't need an all-star game because this year's already weird. So you don't need it because people aren't really needing to have an all-star game to decide, because we're all waiting for the playoffs. And if too many of these guys get infected or get sick, we don't know what the long-term repercussions of this stuff is. If we're even going to get to see a really good playoff because of COVID.
Right.
So, I mean, to be honest, as much as I am a fan of the game and I really want to see an all-star game, it's not that important because they don't really play defense and stuff anyway. Like, we're not, the all-star game isn't that thing like, that you're just dying to see. I mean, you want to see everybody in one spot, but they don't play hard in that game. They don't play. They're trying to stay healthy for the playoffs.
All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rebuttal. Then we're gonna get to some of these statements.
We got a lot.
Yeah, we got a lot, and I want to get to them because I read a few of them, like Michael and Dan, what they were saying, and I really wanted to hop in there, but I wanted to obviously let you guys finish talking. So I don't think it should be an all-star game, but I think it shouldn't be one for two reasons. One, COVID, 100%, right? And then the other thing is the All-Star games in the past is not the All-Star games now. The All-Star games now is one big dunk contest, and it's just for entertainment, right? It's just for entertainment, and then it transitions to, wait a minute, if the game is close, then now they want to win at the end, right? So you're not really, and of course you miss it being star-studded in an incredible city. All the parties, the revenue, all the economy in that city goes up. We get all that, but this is not. This is a very unusual time in American history, in American sports history, history, period. Right. So this is an incredible time. But it's not a normal time. So there's nothing normal about this, and so. Yes, I think they're dropping the ball big time. I think they're dropping the ball big time on having an all-star game, and it's just not the right time. And it I think it sends the wrong message to the fans. And here's where you're splitting hairs a little bit. Yes, does sports and basketball ease the mind of what's really going on in the world? Of course it does, right? But it's the entertainment factor. The issue I'm having with it is that this is something that they're dealing with as far as COVID that is no joke, like you said. So they need to figure it out and not have the All-Star game. That's just my opinion, and we move on from there. So let's get to some of these comments.
All right, I'm gonna go back up because we got like a lot of them. They were going back and forth here for a minute. Let's see. So we had one here. I thought this was really it's a little long, but it's on it. There was talk of JJ coming back. I think that he peaked when he was with us before. Not to mention he talked a little bit of trash about coaching and players in the Butler interview. Not sure if I want his ass back. LOL.
Yeah. Shout out to the family show. Justin, I got it. Justin, I got to agree with you. I'm not a big JJ fan. Okay, when he was here, I think he did a job. But you move. Yeah, I mean, I think everybody was at one point, but you move on. You move on. He's just a player. He's just a type of player that you move on from. Him and his big old contract, you just move on from, and you keep it rolling. And we're winning without him. We're 17-7, sitting number one in the Eastern Conference. We're in no big hurry to bring back anybody.
Yeah.
Unless it's LeBron James. No, I'm just kidding. I digress.
I put JJ in the category. I put JJ in the category of like an old ex-girlfriend. Like she was good while you had her. She's no longer there anymore. You got a new chick.
Hey.
She cooking good. She making food. Like you probably gonna marry this one. You don't need JJ. Like JJ is not that person anymore. And on top of it, he playing like Buns down at the Pelicans. We don't need it.
He definitely is playing awful this year. Could we use some more outshot shooting? Yes. Him? I don't know. And would he even be happy playing the minutes? Because he's not going to play over Shake. Right now, you can't play him over Cork. Cork is playing excellent right now. You're not playing him over Thibault, so this is going to be situation basketball, as they say. And is he going to be happy with that? So if it's 5 minutes, 7 minutes a game, is he going to be good with that? He might not be. If you're on the Lakers, he would shut up and take it. Would he take it here? You don't know.
Yeah, I think it's a perfect case of when you leave a team, you just leave a team. You don't need to badmouth the team. You don't need to be on interviews talking about the coaching and the players.
That whole thing with Jimmy was, I don't know why they did that interview, and they could have stayed away from subjects, but they chose to go all out on it, and they just went all in on everybody. I don't know what that was accomplishing. They both weren't there anymore, but it did. It's over. Yeah, like you said, let's probably just move on from that. Just let him.
So this is a great segue to the next segment of the show. We're going to talk about the NBA as a whole. Now, I was looking at some of the standings, and now don't get me wrong. I even tweeted the other day. I said, "Well, it's not too many teams out there that's 8-2 in their last 10.
No.
Sixers is one of them, obviously, right? In their last 10. But when I started looking around the other teams, and especially the team that played today, that beat Boston today.
Yes.
I was looking at that Phoenix team, and I'm like, you know what? They may make some noise, but are they the Portland Trailblazers of last year?
I don't know about all that.
Are they serious? Are they for real? And that's what I wanted to get into, because I noticed I took a deep dive into Phoenix, and I was wondering why they were so successful. And I noticed they had balanced scoring. I mean, obviously you got Booker and Paul, and it's like they don't technically have a big three, but they do have two deadly guards from outside. Yeah. So I want to know, and Al, I'll come to you first with this one. I want to know why are they doing so well in the division that they're in? Like, Phoenix is really good.
2 words: Chris Paul. Yeah. That's all you need to know. Wherever he goes, OKC was supposed to be garbage, trash, nothing at the bottom of the heap of the Western Conference last year. And they took them to the playoffs. It's him. He gets them to play a certain way. He gets the people in position where they need to be. And he probably called, I think I seen what it was the next day or the day after. He was shooting with Booker right after the trade. He didn't even get to this press conference yet, and he was with Booker in the gym. Those type of things that leaders do, he does everything and more. Taking over the team when he needs to. Maybe Booker's off a little bit. Maybe I'll shoot a little bit more this game. Maybe I'll dish a little bit more this game. Maybe I'm going to get Booker into certain spots a little bit better than he used to be. He studied the tape, say, all right, I see where you weren't getting the ball where you should, and I'm going to make sure you get the ball where you should now. And those little things, it's all him in my mind, because they're not like fully loaded. I just think his leadership gives confidence to everybody. I'm getting it to you. You're going to make it. That type of attitude, and I'm gonna keep going to you. And I'm not going to stop giving it to you the rest of this year. So you might as well make them, because I'm going to keep dishing the ball. That confidence is enough, I think, in my mind.
Yeah. They're playing really good. So I for some reason I always look at because Booker hit a couple game winners this year. Yeah, and he's playing all-star caliber. He's playing on an all-star level.
Oh, he'll definitely be an all-star.
So it seems like it's from Paul and Booker. It seems like it's a big brother, little brother mentality out there. But I think the floor general in Paul is allowing him to finally like really run the point, but also be able to teach while he's on the floor. JD, what do you think?
It's kind of a combination of what y'all both said. But you also got to think about this last year. They got a year older Ayton. who's a force inside.
We were talking about him earlier in the season too. He wasn't playing as good as he's actually playing now. I was going to say that, Drake, too. I forgot to say that. Remember, we were talking about him probably episode 1, and I was saying I haven't seen the growth. These last probably like 10 games, I'm seeing him beasting over there. So he's doing his thing. So yeah, you go ahead. Yeah, but
yeah, so
100% he's helped.
So Ayton in college didn't have a full college season either. So we're watching a lot of his progression happen in the NBA. Like we're watching him mature, become who he's probably going to be. He's kind of a rim protector. He can score inside. He kind of puts me in the mind of a younger Dwight, just because of his size and length. He can really deter people. And Bridges is good. Like people don't give him enough credit. He is really good. He's versatile for his size. And he can move, and then you just put in a
I didn't bring him up on purpose.
I
didn't bring him up on purpose because he should be in this uniform, but we're not going to talk about it. So
I know, but
going.
So I'm just gonna say this, and I'm gonna be done, man. It's just like when you look at Chris Paul and what he brings to the table. Chris Paul makes everyone better around him. He didn't really need to do much for Booker because Booker was already a star. He just needed people around him.
Right.
So, really, in all honesty, to me personally, they're probably a sleeper in the West because people don't really respect them and they don't have all the many big names, but they're dangerous in a playoff series, a 7-game series. So, yeah, to your point, they're probably Portland of last year.
Could be. And a good coach, too. Very good coach.
Well, I called them the Portland of last year because Portland brings a different type of energy. Like Portland, when you play Portland, you never know when it's going to be Dame time. Dame time can be when the ball tips to the double zeros at the end of the game. That's Dame time.
Exactly.
But that's the reason why I brought up Portland. But here's the other question I want to pose to both of you guys because the West. I know we talk Sixers a lot, right? This is because this is half court heat. We want to talk about our Sixers.
Right.
The West is intriguing to me because I'm still trying to figure out if Utah is for real. They're 19-5. I mean, is that a real 19-5, or is it just is who they're beating who they put in front of them, like a real good teams say we're only going to beat what we put in front of them. So Al, you got to tell me, or you know what? Al, listen, I'm hold off of that. Keep that thought, JD. I'm coming to you first because I know you like to watch both conferences, but I gotta know. Is Utah for real, or is it just fugazi? Because they still got to deal with the Clippers, the Suns. They got to deal with the Lakers that I didn't even mention. Like, are they for real or they not?
I mean, with the West, man, the West is wild, and it's the wild West out there. It's like a gunslinger's dream because you got to go 7 games with these teams. Like, there's no layups. Like in your top 10 teams, there's no layups. Like there's no, even your 7 seed could beat you, like potentially. Absolutely. So it's not like the East. You got a couple teams at the top, you got some bottom feeders that could, potentially beat you a game or two, but a 7-game series is serious. You're talking about taking the team that legitimately has a bunch of role players in Spider who has something to prove. He's got something to prove, and that's dangerous. It's like Dame, like that's dangerous. It's nothing to play with. I don't know if they're for real. I can't. The Oracle can't see that far in the distance. But I'm saying if you play with them in a 7-game series, you can get beat.
So Al, well, I agree with you, but Al, I got to tell you this: if the playoffs started today, it would be Utah versus the Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors are sitting at number 8. They're not used to that.
No.
But Steph is playing out of his mind right now.
I didn't expect them to be where they're at now.
And with Draymond, I didn't expect them to be 8. I tell you that.
I expect them to be like 13. I actually expected them to be like 13 without Clay. And Steph just been putting them so far over the top. Is just like, what did he have? 59 the other night or something? Like, what is going on? He has lost his mind. He is just on fire every single game.
I think he turned the corner and he's in a position to make other players around him better, like the Kelly Oubre's of the world. And
Yeah,
of course, with Draymond really being the vocal leader on the floor,
yeah,
they're in every game. And if
yeah.
they're and I guess they figure if they're in every game, they have
You got
opportunity to
Seth.
win, right?
Hmm?
But in a 7-game series, Utah sitting at 19-5, right? And Golden State, I believe, is like 12-11 or something like their record is similar, something like that. It's a 7-game series. You got 1-8. That's why the West is so crazy. Like JD said, the West is all over the place. They're stacked. And like I know this is a football reference, but any given Sunday, anybody can win these series.
Yeah,
With the
yeah,
exception, in my opinion, with the exception of the Lakers, there's really no clear-cut 7-game
yeah.
series winner or favorite, I should say, right? So
Right.
let me ask you: in a 7-game series, who wins, Utah or Golden State?
I think Utah just because of the weapons that they have. Uh, they got the big guy in the middle. Bogdanovich wasn't in the bubble last season, and he came back strong. And I had a feeling he would. And then Clarkson off the bench. Our boy Shake has been playing very good off the bench, but Clarkson been playing out of his mind off the bench up there in Utah. They are fifth. They have won their last 15 out of 16. 15 out of 16. That's like Lakers type of stuff. I am absolutely.
That's not even Lakers stuff.
I'm talking about like the old school Lakers when they was balling, like going crazy. Not even right now because they're gonna fall off. But I am absolutely sold on them right now. And I was watching the game earlier. They played Indiana, and they just doing their thing. They're on the road. They have a 10-3 record on the road. So it's not like they're just winning at home.
Okay.
They are balling, and everybody's doing their thing. Spider's doing his thing, and they're just comfortable in their own skin, and they're just going to play. I wouldn't put it past them to do anything right now, except for maybe knock off the Lakers. But I can't say that they're not for real right now. I would say that they are until they prove me otherwise, and they bounce out in the first round or something like that. Until then, dude, you can't say that they're not legit right now. They just keep going. Now we'll really see in the second half because as far as I have seen, we haven't seen the Clippers yet, Lakers, and I think they haven't played Denver yet. So those games are going to be important to see, but they're legit to me right now. I can't, and like I said, we will see too because we play them this month.
Yeah, for sure.
I think in Utah too.
Yeah, Dan Green says Bogdanovich, and yeah, he's a really good player. I like him because he has a weird inside outside game where he's hard to defend, but he in my opinion he's average on defense, but he's hard to defend.
Yeah.
It's really hard to defend. He causes matchup problems too.
That was
that's a good call, Dan.
That was a sneaky underneath the covers great signing that Utah made a couple years ago when they signed him from Indiana. Because he was a pain in the butt in the East for us, for the Sixers. He always used to kill. You used to leave him open because you didn't think his shot was as good as it was. And now everybody's seeing it now. And they keep their record. He might sneak in an All-Star bid because he's playing that good this year.
So I'm gonna sneak in there real quick. So
I gave Al the West. I'm gonna give you the East. Now it's a layup. It's a layup because the Sixers played at the playoffs started today. The Sixers played the Knicks. Now, the Knicks are still the Knicks, but obviously with the latest news with the Derrick Rose trade. Do they become a little better? Maybe they become a little better, but they're still the Knicks. So then when you dive a little further, you got Milwaukee. You got Milwaukee playing. I want to say the Hornets, right? Milwaukee will probably be playing the Hornets, and the
Are
Nets.
they? Is Milwaukee 3 right now?
Milwaukee is 2, but the
2.
Hornets.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
is in 7. But
Right.
then moving forward, you got the Hawks and the Nets. So what's weird is that the playoffs are not even really going to get interesting until the second round.
Right.
Because in the past it would be 1-8 wasn't a given,
Right.
right? And then or 2-7 isn't a given, or 3-6 isn't a given. It's not a real given. It's usually that 4-5 team that goes head to head and they're hungry.
All out war.
Yeah, so JD, I gotta ask you, if everything remains the same in that second round, when the Sixers beat the Knicks, I'm calling it right. They gotta beat the Knicks in 7-game series.
If we don't, we in bad shape.
Real bad
Yeah,
shape.
we got real problems.
When they get into that second round, it starts to get tougher, right?
Right.
So do you think that they have to get to the Eastern Conference Finals, or is just a bust?
So for me, because Boston is who they are, we still got to deal with Boston. Like, you still have to, even though Boston is lower than they would be normally, we still got to deal with Boston. And Boston has Tatum, and Tatum has presented quite the problem since he's been back. We beat Boston early in the year, without Tatum, and it might have given us a false sense of comfort, a false sense of comfort. And with the East being what it is, with the acquisition of the Nets, they've come around. I'm gonna be honest, I got a hot take. I'm just gonna say it. I don't care. Somebody at me, whatever. I don't care. I'm telling you right now, I don't think the Nets will be there at the end of the year.
No.
I'm just gonna be honest.
Even Eastern Conference Championship, you do not think they're going to make it?
No, I don't. The Nets don't match up well against the Sixers. So first of all, I don't see them matching up well against us or the Celtics because of just the matchup problems. Like, it ain't so much about KD, because KD gonna get his man regardless. But Kyrie is a head case. Like, and then him and Harden, they're not playing well together. And then Harden can't guard a parked car. So,
and neither could Kyrie.
Huh?
Neither could Kyrie. I was screaming at the TV the other night. They were playing who the heck were they playing? They were playing Toronto. And anybody that had Kyrie was defending, they got the ball to that person, and the person scored every single time. That's all I would do. He can't guard anybody. So to your point, I would do that every time. They got a lot of problems. I don't know if I'm gonna say a hot take like that yet, but hey, go ahead with it. Let's see. Let's finish. Let me hear the rest.
Please at me on Twitter. If I give you my Twitter, I don't care. They will not be there. I've seen too many dumpster fires like this where they make these super teams and they end up not panning out. Look at the Lakers with Karl Malone and Gary Payton and all those guys. They look like they'd be the surefire win, and they end up getting smoked. So let's be honest. It ain't always. If you put LeBron on that team, I'll be saying something different. But LeBron's not the floor general of that team. So yeah, the Nets are out. I think it's gonna come down to the Boston Celtics and the Sixers coming out of the East.
Really?
That's my take.
Yeah, and I'm going to raise you one. I think it's the Sixers coming out the East, 100%. And the reason why I say that is because it's going to be old school. The old school phrase: defense wins championships. Period. The Sixers are too big. They're too. No one has an answer for Joel. You got Matisse and Ben. If they do that zone, if they play defense on that zone, come on. No one's going to. I don't care who's on the Nets team. I really don't care, because to your point, KD is going to get his. He's one of the. He's the top best 3 players in the league. Period. So he's going to get his regardless. Here's where they're going to find a lot of issues when you get into that that second and third game in the Eastern Conference Finals. When you start getting into those games, that's when it's going to become a problem. And if they lose, who they're going to look? They're going to look to each other to blame somebody.
So they get a little tighter.
Yeah. It get tighter, and then those personalities are going to come out, and then we're going to watch it. We've seen it play we've seen this over and over and over and over again. So I'm not concerned about any of those teams. I'm laser focused on the Philadelphia 76ers getting to the Eastern Conference Finals. Once they get to the Eastern Conference Finals, they're winning it and they're coming out of the East. That's my take. This is episode 4. I'm not playing around. I'm telling you straight up, this is what's going to happen. Okay? I know the name Oracle is not in my name, but I'm gonna tell you that's what's gonna happen. I'm not a Vince guy. I'm telling you flat out. I'm riding with the Sixers all the way to the end, and that's just how I feel. So we got to get to one last thing because I've never been this guy, and I don't know if you guys know who I'm about to talk about, but I've never. I'm gonna just call it what it is. I love his game, but I don't see the consistency. But he has been balling. Van Fleet has been balling. This guy, is it the contract? Is it the style of play? What is it? Al, tell me what is this guy doing different that this guy is just balling? Like, I don't understand.
Hard work. That's all I can say. I mean, I was following this guy. He was undrafted. Which, oh goodness, the guy from Toronto to grab him as an undrafted free agent and turn him into, what they give him, 80, 90, something like that, some crazy deal in the offseason. He just worked hard. Just worked hard on his game and got that shot better and better and better. You can't leave him open. You can't double off of his man because he's going to bury that and then look at you like, are you crazy for not even playing me? That's how good he is now. All I can say is it's hard work. I can't say I didn't. I can't say he surprised me because I was watching him and he got better and better and better and better. Where I wouldn't say he's one of the top guards. I would just say he's just very consistent. And then you playing with Lowry. So that Lowry just, his toughness, his everything that oozes off of him goes right into him being with him for all this time. Lowry is a dog. So if you got that dog next to you every day, that dog's gonna come off on you. I'm seeing them I watched him the other day, just stopped and popped and buried a 3 at the top of the key like it was nothing. I was like, that wasn't that dude 2-3 years ago. That's Lowry in him because Lowry did the same thing the next time they court. And that's why they beat the Nets the other night. He just came right there, bang, and just walked around the court like it was nothing. Oh, Larry, to be his age, Larry can still ball. Larry definitely can ball.
Well, he like you said, he's got this dog in him. He's just a different pedigree.
Yeah.
And so I never ever hated on Kyle's game. Kyle is that guy. Like, he's that guy. Not just because he's from Villanova, not just because he's a Philly guy. He is that guy. He's never been in shape. He doesn't care. He just goes out and ball. Yeah. And that's why I think he thrives in Toronto. Because I look at his type of game, and in different systems, I don't know if it would translate in other systems. So I want to digress just a little bit. What JD was talking about when he was saying that Boston is either Boston or Sixers coming out of the East. The biggest issue I have with Boston is that they've been way more inconsistent this year than I've ever seen them. So even with the return of Jason Tatum, Boston is like 12-10 now, right?
Yeah.
So when they were making a tear through the East last year, and they looked unbeatable at times, and then you get to this year, and it's like, I think that the inconsistency, you don't know what's going on with them. So I think the inconsistency comes with would give me the nudge to the Sixers over the Celtics. And remember, we're talking about two teams that is making it to the Eastern Conference Finals over possibly the biggest onslaught of offense that we've ever seen with Kyrie, KD, and Harden. So this is really going to be a battle royal at the end of the season where everybody's going to be watching. The whole world's going to be watching who's going to go through that survival of the fittest type thing. And I
Yeah.
think the team that comes out is going to be defense. So to JD's point, the reason why I give the nudge to Boston over the Nets is because Boston actually plays defense.
With one weak link though. With one weak link, and he's always been that weak link, and that's Kemba. Kemba is a weak link on defense.
Yeah, but he's the only one.
Right. He's the only one. He's the only one. But I always thought that Kemba teams can't win in the playoffs. I just think because you're concentrating on that one team for 7 games. In the regular season, you're going city to city. You're not concentrating on Kemba and how they get Kemba in pick and rolls and how to get him isolated where you can just back him down. Anybody on our team can back Kemba down. Seth could back Kemba down if he wanted to. Seth wanted to post Kemba up, he could. And so that's a problem for them. I don't know why they thought that was going to be an up. Well, yes, it was an upgrade. I was about to say I didn't know why they was thinking that Kyrie was an upgrade, but it was an upgrade from Kyrie the way he was playing in Boston. But it's just I've always thought that's why the Hornets couldn't go anywhere because he is a liability when it comes to the playoffs. Why do you think they never won a playoff series when he was in Charlotte? It's a lot to do with him because he gets used in the playoffs, and he never does enough to overcome his deficiencies on defense. In my opinion.
Real quick, Andre, I want to put this out there about VanVleet. And before we get to Dan's question, but VanVleet, man, a lot of people don't know this about him because I'm a college guy, so I love college. But when VanVleet was at Wichita State, because he transferred from Auburn, when he was at Wichita State, they went to 2 Sweet 16s. He's a 2-time MVP of Wichita State in that run. So I mean, a lot of times people forget that when because the college game is huge. It's so many more teams to keep up with.
Right.
But when you're looking at it from that perspective, when you're on a Division I team and you're, as small as he is and he's leading the team, he's the offensive player of the year in his conference, and then he's the MVP of his team. Come on, man. Like, it's like when you go to one of these small, like, HBCUs and you the man at your HBCU. And then when you get to the draft combine, you're smaller or you're undersized, but you're still a dog.
Right.
The only difference between VanVleet and a John Morant situation is John Morant got hot and where social media was really popping. That's really the difference. So, to me, to be honest with you, I'm a John Morant fan and a Zion fan because I'm from South Carolina, so I love both of those guys. But in all honesty, VanVleet, he's the hard work player of the year, if not of his class, because he's not big, he's not anything. He's the epitome of hard work.
Absolutely.
So we definitely got to give him his kudos. Man, he had 54 the other night. We got to give him his kudos, and especially be playing beside Lowry and still getting his man like that.
Yeah.
So you go on the dance. I just wanted to put that out there. You can go on the dance question.
So Dan must be the oracle of this show. Dan Green.
This was huge on Twitter the other day. You seen I woke up.
That's why I was going to Dan right now. Shout out to Dan Green. Someone brought up Iverson versus Kyrie. And
you guys there?
And I believe it was the coach. Right? I believe it was the coach. It was the Nets coach. It was Nash. My biggest issue is though. Here's my biggest issue. Oh, we lost Al for a second, but he's coming back. He's coming back.
I think he is.
He's coming back. We're just gonna keep it rolling.
Okay, go ahead.
My biggest issue though is when I started diving into Steve Nash's career, and I started diving into Allen Iverson's career, and I was like, wow, they're a little closer than I thought. Now here's where the argument gets even crazier. the way I started looking at it, I was going, well, that would have been really nice if Iverson would have had Amari Stoudemire. That'd have been really nice if Iverson would have played with Kevin Johnson, Jason Kidd. Like, come on. So to me, I said, you know what? Hands down, Allen Iverson. I'm not even diving into any more. In fact, when Twitter started blowing up and I was getting retweeted and tweeted and people liking and all this other stuff, I just said, you know what? I'm enjoying. I just got my popcorn out and I'm enjoying all the comments. And then that's when oh yeah, Dan is right. I was like, come on, are you crazy? Allen Iverson, are you crazy? Allen Iverson is the man. Like we don't want to talk about different areas of the game itself. The game itself, we can go on and on for hours about how he changed the culture, how he transcended basketball, how he practice. Are you practice? Like, come on, this guy is basketball. No disrespect to Steve Nash. No disrespect to Steve Nash. But Steve Nash, maybe because he's coaching now, is that he's somehow disconnected a little bit from the player. I'm not really sure. But what I do know is that you do not. What I do know, he's back. What I do not, you do not compare Allen Iverson at all to Kyrie. You just don't do it.
Yeah,
So
I'm with you. I'm with you, man. I'm gonna be
there
honest.
is no Kyrie without Allen Iverson. Period.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not gonna validate that with any type of answer other than AI is gonna be a Hall of Fame player. He was a Hall of Fame player before he even got out of the league. Like he transcended basketball. Like I'm a young kid from South Carolina, and Allen Iverson had me wearing cornrows. Like it's too hot to have cornrows down south. Just so you know, it's too hot. All them cats that's got dreads and cornrows, it's too hot for that. But I did it. I wore the Reeboks. I'm a Nike Jordan guy, and he had me wearing Reeboks. I never got my ears pierced, but I had little tattoos. I tried to do it all. Like Allen Iverson impacted so many people, so I don't think that's even a fair comment. The comment I'm actually a little bit more wanting to get to is the fact about Paul, like Chris Paul. I guess he's talking about. It's not close with Chris Paul either. Like it's nowhere near close with Chris Paul. Chris Paul is the man, period. Like it's not close. Kyrie hasn't done enough. Kyrie hasn't done enough. Even the good players he played with, he got beef with them. How you beefing with LeBron? Like, come on, man. He trying to take you in this wing. Like, be humble. I really just want to say this, and I'm gonna be done. The Kyrie, to me personally, is not who everybody think he's got a signature shoe and all that. And he's supposed to be that guy, but we say the same thing about Paul George. Like Paul George got a shoe too, and they call him playoff Paul, playoff PG or whatever. He ain't never done nothing. So we give people too much credit before they do anything or prove anything to us. He haven't proven that.
They put people weight. They put the tags on him. He's a great player. Really, he is. Well, what is he proving? And Kyrie is proven zero without LeBron. Zero. Nothing. Along with PG. PG has proved nothing in this league. I remember one great play when he jumped over LeBron when they played in Indiana and the Cavs. That's the one highlight in the post that I remember of PG. And I can't remember anything else from PG in the playoffs.
I think we lost him again.
Yeah, it could be. I hope he don't got that T-Mobile, man.
Not the T-Mobile joke.
No, I was just kidding anyway. Now I get his point. Now Kyrie, here's the thing: Kyrie's a great player. So we're not talking about if he's a great player or not. We're talking about how they compared him. Now when Dan Green mentioned Dan Green mentioned Paul and Kyrie, right? That to me, it's two totally different players. Kyrie has a skill set. Chris Paul is a floor general.
Chris Paul is a skill set.
Yeah, he's a floor general who it's not like you said. You know what? I actually digress. I go to what you just said. I don't even want to entertain that. But Dan said that Paul and Kyrie, stop it. We'll have these conversations when they both retire, and we go back and we look at who made the biggest impact. what their stats look like. Chris Paul's story is still being written, and so is Kyrie's. So why are we even entertaining that right now?
This is brutal tonight.
Uh, hey, listen, we keep it moving though, bro. It's half court heat. You may be too hot with them hot takes up there.
I can't call it, man. I don't know if it's I don't know what's going on. This is the worst. I'm about to call Comcast up, man. What's going on?
They know you talking greasy. They're gonna get him off of there. Like,
nah, shout out to Comcast. They may have to cut that check for it. So Comcast, you cool? Just
you good. You good.
Send Al a technician out there to check on his wire.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I need a tech.
Oh man, hey guys, listen. We well, first shout out to everybody that tuned in. Dan brought the heat tonight with the comments. Dan, we appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, appreciate you, Dan.
And Al, Tony, we miss you. We know you coming back.
Absolutely.
JD, the Oracle is on point. I love his takes about he's like, look, I'm a college guy, but I know all about VanVleet, so don't even go there. So we appreciate that. Al brings the heat every week. It's not even close. My guy, I appreciate you. Thanks for everybody that was tuning in. We at that hour mark, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to Half Court Heat on Heat Ratio Sports Network. And like my man Tony would say, everybody stay safe, stay healthy, and we catch you next week.